Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the Republic of Sierraleone, the Supreme Head of State, the Minister of Defense, the Grand Commander of the Republic, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, the presidentjuliusmaadabio. Thank you. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Sierraleone, the Supreme Head of State, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, I want to stand on the existing protocol to call this program to order. I have the privilege to invite Sheikh Foba Soare for a Muslim prayer. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. If ever we should be grateful to the Almighty, today will not be an exception. To have 166,495 candidates for little children attending the MPSA today is a very, very memorable day, the first in the history of this country. I would just say, yeah, His Excellency, for this great achievement. Put your hands together for if this flagship program to succeed, I think that twin flagship program for Excellency at the same time today to commemorate. That is today, the International Menstrual Hygiene Day is a part of her project, Hands Off Our Girl. The project you're all aware, during the first launch, 2018, she outruled a lot of activities. Therefore, today brings us to commemorate a very vital component of the First Lady, Madam Fatima flagship project. So I think the nation is moving forward. May Allah help us together. Why this day is important, I will take you in chapter 16, verse 58. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَإِذَا بُشِرَ أَحَدُهُمْ بِالْأُنْثَى ظَلَّ وَجْهُهُ مُسْوَدًّا وَهُوَ كَظِيمٌ. Her Excellency's fight is right. It is justifiable in the Quran as well as the world history and even in our Sierraleone history. The Quran says, when good news of birth of a female is given to any of them, his face grows dark and inwardly he chokes with anguish. In the Arab society, Indian, China, Africa, and other, the female was second to none. Sorry, the female was nowhere. And even when the British occupied India, the Sufi theory was proposed to be abolished. When they said the widow was worthless after the death of her husband, she was burned along with the husband. It was difficult to abolish that. Therefore, today, God has done it for us. In his infinite mercy, has prepared a soldier, a servant, and a liberator to provide solution to this decade girl-child tumultuous situation in our country, and has been awarded as a warrior or a champion for sanitation and hygiene in Africa. We pray. Let us pray. Oh Allah, you are the divine converter. Turn her excellency, strength, and opportunity into a great success, and to her advantage, her weaknesses and the threats be also converted into victory for us. O Lord, we ask you to grant all our female and girl, as well as women in Sierraleone, spiritual purity and social comfort. Lord Almighty, make our excellency a demonstration of hope for our girl, as well as a demolition of girls' anger and anarchy in Sierra Leone. O Allah, we cry as a nation collectively to acknowledge these generous and genuine efforts of her to protect and stand by the girl child, the well-being of women and girls in Sierra Leone. Lord, we acknowledge the various challenges she has undergone, gone through the east, west, south, and north of Sierra Leone to launch the flagship project. Lord, she has fight to eliminate girl-child marriage, reduction of teenage pregnancy, and today we are here and stand to commemorate here another laudable initiative, the International Day of Menstrual Hygiene. Lord, we ask you to keep our girl pure, perfect, and paragon of other women in the world, especially in Africa. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين وأذل الشرك والمشركين ودمر أعداءك أعداء الدين لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون الصلاة والسلام على المرسلين الحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you, Sheikh. I now request my volunteer among the students to come forward for the Christian prayer. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning, the First Lady and the Mayor and all dignitaries present here. Let us stand in the presence of God. Our God and our Father, we thank you for this day. Oh God, as we are present here, oh Lord Father, whatever thing His Excellency and the President we are coming to do here today, Father, we pray, let your will be done. Without you, they cannot do nothing. Father, we pray that you give them more wisdom, and those who are sponsoring the program, that you will give them the courage. Then even us, we pray that, even the students, we pray that, Father, that all of us will stand and we will be educated, and Lord, help us. It is not easy. Oh God, we thank you. We thank you for everything. Lord God, take charge over this program. as the community starts in Jesus' name.
Amen.
Thank you so much. We move straight to the program, and I want to assure His Excellency the President that this program is going to be brief but interesting. Ladies and gentlemen, I have the privilege to invite the Chief Administrator of the Freetown City Council for a welcome statement. Please.
His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Sierraleone, presidentjuliusmaadabio, Honorable Vice President Dr. Juliusmaadabio, Her Excellency the First Lady Mrs. Fatima, I worship the Mayor, the Sawyer of the Municipality of Freetown, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors present, Ministers and Deputy Ministers of Government, international community representatives, distinguished guests, councillors, colleagues of Freetown City Council. Ladies and gentlemen, I do recognize each one of you present. Her Excellency, the First Lady, let me take this opportunity to congratulate you on the new appointment as the African Champion for Sanitation and Hygiene by African Ministers of Council on Voters. Congratulations, sir. It is a great pleasure and indeed a great pride for me to welcome you to the launch of the Office of the First Lady's Operational Plan for 2021 to 2023 and the commemoration of the International Day of Menstrual Hygiene. You're almost welcome. Her Excellency the First Lady, please allow me to welcome especially His Excellency Ambassador Zhang, the Chinese Ambassador to Sierra Leone. You're most welcome, sir. Allow me to welcome Her Excellency Madam Halima Yusuf Ashi, African Development Bank Country Manager, and His Excellency Dr. Babatunde, the UN Residence Coordinator, and all other distinguished guests. Welcome. I want to thank the Office of the First Lady for this initiative of launching the operational plan for 2021 to 2023 and the commemoration of the International Day of Menstrual Hygiene. As a nation, we should care about menstrual hygiene management as it can further social and economic empowerment and growth, and also contributes to achieving a number of sustainable development goals, though not limited to quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation. According to the United Nations, 1 in 10 girls are menstruating. In Sierra Leone, the picture is the same. Girls between 10 to 16 years are severely affected by lack of proper sanitation. It is therefore fulfilling that Her Excellency the First Lady has recognized that period poverty has negative impact on health, education, gender equality, and productivity, and if not addressed, perpetuates existing inequalities. No girl should have to miss school or at worst drop out due to lack of access to sanitary materials or adequate wash facilities that allow for safe and dignified menstrual hygiene management. That is why the government, together with the development partners, should formulate policies to address period poverty. A progressive policy such as provision of free menstrual sanitary pads to female school learners will protect them from stigma, anxiety, and discomfort associated with menstrual hygiene, and empower them to focus on their studies while easing the cost of living for families. Let me take this opportunity to appreciate every speaker who has made the necessary preparation to share their knowledge with us today. Let me end my opening statement asking this question: what good does it do to have a good head that is not connected to the rest of the body? What good does it do to have a good head that is not connected to the rest of the body? That is why every Sierraleonean and international community should continue to lend their support to the vision of Her Excellency the First Lady, Mrs. Fatima, who has a good head and good heart that is connected to the rest of the country. I thank you very much.
Thank you so much, CA. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Honorable Vice President, Her Excellency, the First Lady, Ministers of the Members of Parliament, Her Worship, the Mayor of the municipality, the Chief Administrator, the Resident Coordinator of the UN System, Country Manager, members of the Diplomatic Corps, the heads of the security sector, principal and pupils of various schools, civil society, and members of the Fourth Estate, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Assalamu alaikum. Let me, on behalf of Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone, and on behalf of my colleagues in the Office of the First Lady, to express our appreciation for accepting our invitation to this important occasion. Today, as a nation and as a government, as a member of the civilized world, we have chosen to come together to raise awareness about the fundamental roles that good menstrual hygiene plays in enabling women and girls to reach their full potential. May 28th create opportunity for advocacy for integration of menstrual hygiene management into global, national, and international policies, programs, and projects. The theme for this year, no more limits, empowering women and girls through menstrual hygiene. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, on this note, I want to invite Her Worship, the Mayor of the Municipality of Freetown, Madam Yvonne Akinsoya, for a statement. Thank you.
Your Excellency, the President, retired President Dr. Juliusmaadabio, Your Excellency, the Vice President, Dr. Mohammed, Your Excellency, the First Lady, Madam Fatima, Ministers of Government present, members of the Diplomatic Corps, councillors, staff of FCC, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. As a woman, one of 51% of the population of this country, this is a very, very interesting and dear topic to many of our hearts. It's actually, as we were growing up, a topic that wasn't mentioned in polite circles. It was something that you talked about only among your girlfriends and with your mother. But today we recognize the importance of making sure that this very important part of all of the lives of women and girls is not put to one side, because as the theme says, we must stop the limits that are on us. So thank you, Madam First Lady, for championing this cause today. In our society, the CA has just given a statistic. 1 in 10 girls on the continent lose time from their studies because of them not being able to access hygiene at school. And as I address this group of women, young women, because I see many women in the room, young students, it is so important for you and for us to look beyond just that period in the month. For us to look at what limiting is. Limiting happens during menstruation, but limiting happens in so many other ways. And I'm grateful that a day like today creates a platform for us to talk about other things. Limiting happens because of states of mind. Limiting happens because of early marriage. Limiting happens because of financial constraints. Limiting happens because of access to transport. Limiting happens because of rape and sexual violence. These are all areas, these are all factors, these are all issues which confront 51% of our populace, the women and girls. And why does it matter? It matters because all of us, all of you, all the female students in the room, all the young women in the room, because all of us have a role to play and a contribution to make to ensure that our country develops. But we lose out on them when they lose out on education. So it's our responsibility to ensure that the things that you need on a practical level are made possible. At Freetown City Council, as part of Transform Freetown, education is one of our sectors of priority. And we launched about 2 months ago a school cluster mentor program, which, supporting the Ministry of Basic and Secondary Education, enables us to send enumerators, what we call them school mentors, out into our schools. To date, 4 weeks in to site activities, we visited 259 schools, but we've paid 373 visits because some schools get more visits than others through the structure of the program. Of the schools visited, 140 have access to clean water, 119 have no access to clean water, and 136 have clean latrines. And you might ask, what has that got to do with today? It has everything to do with today. Because part of what we experience as women, as young girls, during those interesting times of the month, those difficult times of the month, because sometimes it's a painful time, what we experience is a need for more water. What we experience is the need to have clean bathrooms. So the practicality of us surveying, doing these surveys, raises the question, what do we do about it? So at Freetown City Council, we know that the trajectory is very high. It's steep. We have over 500 schools, which are primary and JSS. In order to provide water, clean access to water, to already the 119 that we know don't have, is quite an expensive venture. But I think our commitment today, as we talk about this subject and other professionals, other speakers, will talk about it from different angles. As the mayor of the municipality, I want to come at it from this very practical side. It's our responsibility to try to ensure that the very least thing that a girl can expect when she goes to school, taps with running water, are there. That will be a task that we have to do in collaboration with the ministry and with GUMA, but it's one we're committed to. And that's from me as City Council. And from me now as a woman who was once a schoolgirl like yourselves, who once had to deal with this once a month, I would say to you, I would say to us all, it's a good thing we're not embarrassed about it anymore. It's a good thing we can talk freely about it, because it's in being able to speak that we can address our challenges. So hold your head up high, not only during that time of the month, but hold your head up high at all times, because you are our future. This 51% of our populace needs to ensure that we're taking our place in the leadership of our schools, our communities, our families, our professional sectors, and in the future, young women. You're taking the leadership in our country. Thank you and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Her Worship. On this note, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I have another champion, and somebody who has so much passion, something that has to do with Hands Off Our Gas and the Free Sanitary Pad project. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for His Excellency, the Ambassador of the People's Republic of China to Sierraleone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Sierraleone, retired Brigadier Dr. Juliusmaadabio, Honorable Vice President Dr. Judy Jallo, Your Excellency, First Lady of the Republic of Sierraleone, Madam Fatima, Maada, Honorable Ministers, Your Worship, Mayor of Freetown, colleague members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It's my honor to be given the opportunity to make a short statement on this special but important occasion. First of all, please allow me to register my sincere appreciation and highest esteem to His Excellency Presidentjuliusmaadabio and Her Excellency Madam First Lady Fatima Maadabio for attaching great importance to the improvement of sanitation and hygiene conditions of women and girls. We are now in the third decade of the 21st century. We have experienced rapid global economic and social development. However, in many parts of the world, including here in Africa, and even some places in the developed countries, human development is still inadequate and imbalanced. The lack of appropriate facilities and enough attention for menstrual hygiene management is still one of the great concerns with regard to women and girls' welfare. In many cases, economic difficulties and unnecessary social norms, beliefs, and cultures compound the challenge for menstruating girls and women. There is a real need to build awareness and provide support for women and girls to practice good menstrual hygiene management so that they will be able to reduce the development deficit, to narrow the development gap, and reach their full potential. It is highly commendable that His Excellency President Juliusmaadabio, since taking office in 2018, has made human capital development one of the Sierra Leone government's top priorities. Immense efforts have been exerted, and notable results have been achieved. Promoting and protecting the rights of women and girls is an important part of that. At the same time, Her Excellency First Lady Fatimamaadabio has complemented the government's efforts and taken an active lead in empowering women and girls. The Hands of Our Girls campaign, initiated by the First Lady and supported by the Sierra Leone government, has now become not only a household name, but also a conscientious social practice. This campaign has helped many of the most vulnerable people and enhanced inclusive development in this country. Its influence is going beyond borders. Yesterday, the African Ministers' Council on Water formally appointed Her Excellency First Lady Fatimamaadabio as the African champion for sanitation and hygiene for AMCO. The Secretary General of AMCO pointed out that this appointment was also out of recognition for her outstanding leadership role in advancing the Hands of Our Girls campaign. Congratulations, Madam First Lady. Congratulations, Sierra Leone. As a reliable friend and close partner of Sierra Leone, China has always been actively supporting and will continue to actively support Sierra Leone's human capital development. The Chinese embassy in Sierra Leone has provided support to and will continue to be a part of the Hands of Our Girls campaign. I wish the launching of the operational plans of the Hands of Our Girls campaign and the commemoration of the International Day of Menstrual Hygiene a great success. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, he spoke about something very strategic. The commemoration of the International Menstrual Hygiene Day is to raise awareness, but the most important is for us as a nation to increase our investment on menstrual hygiene. This is very important. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, I have the privilege to invite the Honorable Minister of Health and Sanitation, Dr. Presidentbio, for a statement.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. You brilliant, sharp, educated, aspiring young girls. Una dina Dios? Yes. Can we hear you? Yes. Well, this is your day. This is your celebration. His Excellency, the President, Brigadier Retired Dr. Juliusmaadabio, the Honorable Vice President, Dr. Maada, the First Lady of the Republic is Her Excellency Madam Fatima Maadabio, Her Worship, the Mayor of the Metropolitan City of Freetown, members of the Cabinet, members of Parliament, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, the Press Corps, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Yesterday was one of the proudest moments for every Sierra Leonean as we witnessed the African Union's acknowledgement of Her Excellency Madam Fatima Maadabio for her leadership and commitment to hygiene and sanitation, not only in Sierra Leone, but throughout the continent of Africa. As a Minister of Health and Sanitation, and as a proud father of 3 daughters, I take the issue of menstrual health and menstrual hygiene personally. I believe I may have earned my expertise rather naturally. Today is indeed a poignant day as we commemorate the International Day of Menstrual Hygiene. Globally, there is a growing attention to menstrual health and hygiene in the development and humanitarian communities. As you know, Her Excellency the First Lady is leading this effort in Sierra Leone with a distinct focus on menstrual health and hygiene for school-age girls. For billions of girls around the world, menstruation is a monthly reality. Yet in many communities, girls still face serious challenges when it comes to managing their periods. Myths, stigma, and harmful gender norms around menstruation exacerbate the difficulties for girls across the world, including our country, Sierra Leone. If not managed properly, menstruation can interrupt daily life, including schooling, which leads to increased absenteeism for girls. The lack of adequate facilities and materials, restrictions on girls' movement during this period, and feeling ashamed or unclean also contribute to girls skipping school. Menstruation, as we all know, is a natural physiological process. For adolescent girls, this signals the beginning of their reproductive lives. In Sierra Leone, menstrual hygiene mostly depends upon the girl's educational status, cultural status, and the socioeconomic status of their families. It is important that adolescent girls be educated about the significance of menstruation and the proper hygiene practices during menstruation. Taboos, myths, and shame surrounding menstruation can lead to teasing, shaming, and exclusion from daily activities with devastating consequences to a young girl's dignity and self-esteem. Period shame is deeply rooted in gender inequality. Cultural and religious traditions around menstruation are often derived from discriminatory patriarchal norms about the girl's status and place in society. As a result, girls and women are often expected to refrain from normal activities such as bathing or cooking, and may even be banished from the home during their period. These restrictions and negative attitudes towards menstruation often affect girls' self-esteem. The good news, however, is that the First Lady of Sierra Leone, Her Excellency Madam Fatima Maadabio, continues to be a strong advocate and champion for the empowerment of girls as a way of countering these negative stereotypes. Her office has launched globally recognized initiatives such as the Hands of Our Girls campaign, aimed at the betterment of the lives of Sierra Leonean girls, specifically school-going girls. The National Girls Camp, organized by the Ministry of Gender and Children's Affairs, aims to empower young girls to develop positive self-image, improve their self-esteem, and make informed decisions with regard to their sexual and reproductive health. Together with other partners in schools, the Office of the First Lady has distributed menstrual hygiene materials in schools and taught girls how to manage their periods so that they feel confident and stay in school. By improving menstrual health and tackling period shame, ladies and gentlemen, I strongly believe that we can improve girls' attendance and performance at school, break down taboos and misconceptions around menstruation, raise girls' esteem, and enable girls to fully participate in all aspects of our society. We owe this to our girls. And as the Minister of Health and Sanitation, I make this public pledge to a total commitment to the welfare of all our girls. The future doctors, the future nurses, the future lawyers, the future judges, and even, I dare say, future presidents of this republic. Thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for the total commitment in respect of the free sanitary pad and the life of our girls. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been in this business for quite some time, and we want to appreciate the role principals of secondary schools played during the launch of the Hands of Our Girls and up to this moment, because we believe this is an educational project. So everything that has to do with education has to be inclusive. On this note, I want to invite the President, Conference of Principal Western Area for a statement.
President, retired presidentjuliusmaadabio, Vice President of the Republic of Sierraleone, Your Excellency, First Lady of the Republic of Sierraleone, Mrs. Fatima, I worship the Mayor of Freetown City Council, Honorable Ministers, officials of government and line ministries, development partners, non-governmental and governmental, the diplomatic and consular corps, heads of educational institutions, teachers and pupils, members of the Fourth Estate, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I bring you warm greetings from the National Conference of Principals of Secondary Schools. It is with great humility that I stand here in the capacity of the chairperson of Conference of Principals of Secondary Schools of Western Area, to make a statement on the significance and contributions of Hands Off Our Girls campaign in the education sector. This statement is made at a defining moment in the history of our country, when for the very first time, a sitting First Lady is imagining the launching of the popular global and brand Hands Off Our Girls campaign, operational plan for 2021 to 2023, and the commemoration of the International Day of Menstrual Hygiene. The Hands Off Our Girls campaign is a campaign against sexual and gender-based violence, and specifically stick to the rape, early marriage, and other gender-based violence crimes that women and girls face in Sierra Leone and the entire world. While menstrual hygiene has to do with access to menstrual hygiene products to absorb or collect the flow during the menstruation, privacy to change the materials, and access to the safe disposal of used menstrual hygiene products. This brief clarification of the two shows wisdom of Our Excellency, Mrs. Fatima Bio, for merging the two programs as they are intertwined. I must hasten to state here that the Hands Off Our Girls campaign is very significant to the education sector,
in that it advocates against sexual and gender-based violence, victims breaking the silence and developing policies and setting out punitive measures for perpetrators, not only in the case of rape, but also early marriage. It is established fact that rape, early marriage, and other forms of gender-based violence have been barriers for our girls' education. But the advent of the Hands Off Our Girls campaign has from onset changed the tragedy. Therefore, the Hands Off Our Girls campaign is significant to the education sector because it has changed the narrative on girls' child education in Sierra Leone. Hitherto, the future of girl child education has blinked a rape, early marriage, teenage pregnancy, and other forms of gender-based violence prevented significant numbers of girls from either accessing school, staying in school, or attaining their full educational potentials. The contribution of Hands Off Our Girls, as stated in the earlier account, it has resulted with a free quality education to improve the access of education for girls and improve retention and completion rates of our girls in school. Girls now feel safe and secure to attend not only in school, but also in their communities as a result of successful implementation of your campaign. Its emphasis on girls being girls and not wives, mothers, or brides have created a new landscape in promoting education for girl child. So girls will be girls, not mothers. The Hands Off Our Girls campaign has improved menstrual hygiene in schools through the supply of sanitary pads. At this juncture, I want to thank Her Excellency, Madam Fatima Bio, on behalf of colleague principals, teachers, pupils, for the timely intervention in restoring the dignity of our girls and women of Sierra Leone through Hands Off Our Girls campaign and distribution of the free sanitary pad nationwide. I hope the 2021-2023 operational plan will do more for the educational sector. On this note, I want to thank you for all the support you've given to the office of First Lady for Hands Off Our Girls. Thank you.
I'm pretty sure she deserves something better than that. Because one thing I know, when a woman speaks, she speaks from the bottom of her heart. Yes. That is what I have been told and I've learned over this period. Thank you so much. Your Excellency, President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have a 7-minute documentary which we humbly request your patience so that we'll screen this. This is just about the launch of the free sanitary pad, how the whole idea came about, and where we are today, and what we are expecting at the end of this conversation. One thing I still want us to have in mind is this: raising awareness and help increase investment on menstrual hygiene project. It is key because what we are about to see is something that an individual, a mother, with the support of His Excellency the President, by giving her the space, designed and came up with a strategy that indeed it is about time we give our girls the opportunity. So ladies and gentlemen, please be seated while we watch the screen and how we started this program, how we raised the money, and there has been a whole lot of controversy about the operations of our office, but people really don't understand how we managed to run things. The money that was secured to buy the first consignment of this free sanitary pad for those who would be extremely sincere to their conscience in this country knew how it all started in this country. From the National Stadium, from Bitumani, from dinners, from all sort of fundraising events. This is something you can only achieve with somebody that has the passion, and when you have a husband that is ready, willing to give that individual something. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the champion of the Hands Up Program, His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Sierraleone. And I always pray that women of this country will have a husband like retired presidentjuliusmaadabio. Because he believed, and during our conversation this morning, two things the president has done for this country. He believes to empower young people and believes to empower women. Because these are the two forces that always has problems when it comes to design national development. What is the role of the women? What is going to be the role of the young people? So for every indication, almost 45% or 50% of the ministers of government we have in this country, I'm not sure whether they are above 40. So that clearly defines that the president is on his back. And the other thing that is so interesting, the number of women we have in this government clearly defines that the president is more than willing to empower women. The women should be ready to take their rightful position. And that is what exactly Her Excellency the First Lady is pushing. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the First Lady and my President, your President, for the second time. Thank you so much. We want the estate first management to put off the light, please.
The Republic of Sierraleone is transforming the country by investing in human capital. Women are equal partners in development, and the government is committed to creating an enabling environment for women to realize their full potential. The Answer for a Girls campaign is the flagship program of the First Lady of Sierraleone, Madam Fatima Maadabio, and it was officially launched by presidentjuliusmaadabio with support from other African First Ladies in December 2018. The Free Sanitary Pad project is an auxiliary pillar under the Hands Up for Girls campaign, which seeks to address the silent emergencies of girls in school.
I realize that menstruation is a taboo subject in this country. I realize that even the girls that are seeing their menstruation are too ashamed to talk about it. And if you don't talk about your problem, you don't get a solution towards your problem.
I would like to tell them that they should not be ashamed because of menstruation, and that menstruation is not a choice, and if you're being provoked, you should not be ashamed because it's natural. It's a good sign that you're healthy, also not pregnant.
During menstruation period, you have girls absenting themselves from school. One, maybe they do not have the facilities to maintain hygiene. They do not have sanitary towels. But with intervention, the attendance has also improved.
The use of sanitary pads have to start quite early. It gives you confidence. It gives you the air that you know you can continue to do everything, including games and sports, even when you are going through menstruation. It is not something that you hide from. It is not something that you run away from. It is something that you can do most hygienically.
We believe free sanitary pad is a right of our girls, not a privilege. Therefore, we must support the free quality education with the free sanitary pad.
Girls that I know still use cloth otherwise known as species, during their menstrual cycle. And we all know how harmful that can be to their health. So her providing these sanitary pads for us and also promising to continuously produce it for us as long as she's First Lady is major, because this is a major step in her actually actualizing the theme for this year's Menstrual Hygiene Day, which is action and investment in menstrual health and hygiene.
On this International Day of Menstrual Hygiene, as Minister of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, I just want to commend the First Lady, Her Excellency the First Lady, for the fantastic work that she's doing in ensuring that education, girls' education, and healthcare are discussed and those issues related to which are being addressed at all levels across the country.
With the introduction of the sanitary pads, we no longer see any stains on their uniform, and that is very good for us because they are very comfortable in their classroom. They don't walk out, or sometimes they used to tell us we have to go and see that we prepare ourselves properly before we come to class. But with the introduction of the sanitary pads, children now sit in the class without going out to make sure that they clean themselves and then come back to class. That is no longer happening.
As we celebrate the International Day of Menstrual Hygiene, I want to take this opportunity to say a very big thank you to His Excellency, the retired Presidentjuliusmaadabio, and Her Excellency, Mrs. Fatima for this very good initiative.
So with the distribution of the sanitary pad, I think it's a laudable venture by Her Excellency, and we need to applaud her for her venture. Indeed, she is a mother.
We need to put a capital S in sanitation, and I think what the First Lady is doing really just exemplifies how important menstrual health is in general, but also how that's a major factor in the ministry's portfolio. And we want to be able to partner with her, to work very closely with her, to not only address the menstrual health issues, but sanitation in general, not only at the central level in Freetown, but in every district, in every village, in every community, to make sure that the sanitary health is as important as the normal health.
This is one of the opportunities that I've ever witnessed in this country. Hearing some of it is meeting people who are struggling to have access to sanitary pads, and she decided to give them free. It's an opportunity for this country because it has been a very serious matter until those of us who are coming from the areas, and we know when that situation confronts young girls, we know the kind of trauma the family, the parents, and even the individuals.
Amidst the successes of the free sanitary pad distribution project and it being recorded as one of the most successfully implemented projects for girls in Sierra Leone and by extension Africa, there has been challenges.
It's not easy, and buying the sanitary pads, the 59,000 sanitary pads that we have for the girls this year cost at least about $611,000, and that money was raised through different means, through fundraising. We had to do dinner, we had to do another dinner, we had to do the One Nation concert. So we had to do like 3 different kinds of fundraising to be able to have that money and buy the sanitary pads that we bought for the girls. So funding it and sustaining that funding, that's one of the things that really are my worries and my concern. But I'm hoping that with the kind of achievements that the project has achieved through the appreciation of the girls and the way the girls receive it and the appreciation that is being expressed not only by the girls, for parents and teachers, I believe that this is an issue that the government will come on board 100% and champion it and take it over, because it should be a government-owned project.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. one thing that is clear in this video is sustainability. And I believe one reason why we're having this conversation, we believe, is that all the partners we have here, they are more than willing to invest in this project. Because somebody has started the game. So we need to go back to the drawing board and see how we're going to sustain this project. But one thing I believe in this country, and at this moment, the most defined moment in the history of this country, we have a president that is committed to everything that has to do with girls' empowerment. Your Excellency, the First Lady is asking for the sustainability of this project. And I'm sure this will be part of your agenda because this is a way to sustain even the free quality education. We want to thank Her Excellency so much for that. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to quickly move to the next speaker. And I'm humbly requesting that we stick to time or we manage time. I want to invite the principal of High Memorial Secondary School. If the principal is not around, okay. In the absence of the principal of Vine, I'm pretty sure the next speaker is also not available. The country manager for ADB. Any representative? Okay. Thank you so much. On this note, ladies and gentlemen, I want to humbly invite the Minister of Basic and Senior Secondary Education, the man that carries all this knowledge. And I'm sure he has a solution to this problem, how to sustain this project. Honorable Morning Asen.
His Excellency, the President, Brigadier Retired Dr. Juliusmaadabio, the Honorable Vice President, Madam First Lady, please permit me to stand on existing protocols. Today, right now, right across this country, in every chiefdom, over 166,000 students are taking the National Primary School Examination. More than half of them are girls. And for the first time in this country, every chiefdom has an examination center thanks to the But unfortunately, by senior secondary school, even though we have gender parity in primary school and junior secondary school, the number of girls in schools deviates from those of boys. And many of those girls stay at home, missing significant contact hours in school because of their periods and many other reasons, ultimately dropping out of school. And it is very important to note that these girls and their families often come from poor backgrounds and they cannot afford safe products of menstrual hygiene. As a ministry, we believe in supporting and driving His Excellency's free quality school education initiative. And to that end, we have 4 guiding principles. 1 is universal access. 2, quality learning and teaching. 3, comprehensive safety. 4, radical inclusion. Hands Up Our Girls and Her Excellency's efforts have been instrumental and transformational in helping us as a ministry to deliver on these principles. In particular, comprehensive safety and radical inclusion. Radical inclusion means that we will stop at nothing until every child, no matter their religion, class, or ethnicity, and in particular, children with disabilities, those from poor backgrounds, those from remote and rural areas, pregnant girls and parent learners, until all girls, all children can access and stay in school. Madam First Lady, the government heard you. This is why, in collaboration with the Minister of Finance and the government in our annual budget this year, government committed 10 billion loans to support the procurement of safe menstrual hygiene products. Now, this is in addition to the distribution of reusable pads that we've already done in 2018 and 2019 to augment what you're doing through our Lewiland program, providing reusable pads to over 300,000 girls in more than 2,650 junior and senior secondary schools across the country. With our partners, UNFPA, we have incorporated comprehensive sexuality education in our subject syllabuses. We also heard how worship the mayor. Salwako actually is currently assessing all schools nationwide, and they will write a report for the Ministry of Water on how we can provide water to all of our 11,165 schools. On this International Menstrual Hygiene Day, I want to especially thank my dear sister, Her Excellency, for her relentless work in championing SDG 4 and SDG 5. When we started talking about radical inclusion, detractors suggested it was in conflict with hands of our girls. But we remained focused, we spoke regularly, and today you are one of the biggest champions of radical inclusion. How? And I'll share two stories. I was in Brussels last week with a special envoy of the Prime Minister of the UK, and we were in the Boys and Girls Club talking to some students about menstruation. And there was a boy who must have been 12 years old. At the end of the session, I asked him how he felt about menstruation or the conversations that we were having. And he stood up and said, today the girl in their school is on their period. Not just do they allow the girls preference to the bathroom, they also want to bring water to give to the girls. In Kailaon last week, with the First Lady, at the hands of our girls event, the Salon superstar Mahmoudi was on stage performing. And in his performance, a blind pupil was brought to the stage. And a child with a physical disability also joined them on the stage. And for several minutes, Mahmoudi danced with these two students. There can be no better example of radical inclusion than that. We will stop at nothing until every child, every girl, every kid with a disability can access school. That is what FQSC means. And that is what we mean by Power Pascal more better. Firstly, I also know that you like music, and I saw in the program that there's no music there. And my boss likes to make fun of me usually about my rapping, and I should show whether I can rap in public. So I'll rap for my boss and you because I can. When I picture this, Marina married was just 19. And Papa died when she was 13. Mama ended up in get nothing. So off she goes, she must go find something. She took off her clothes, waiting at the team. Team Santu, now who do that dirty thing? By forceps, it's a rush, oh my gosh, it's a gush, but be crying at the last
kissed me, that's how we lost her. Baby girl, 7 days, called the pastor. Oh no, it's the same one, the pastor. It's a race to the bottom for shoes if you get any faster. We can say that if we really want to do it. We can leave our life full if we ain't fools. Go back to school, yeah, if we ain't tools. Rise to the top, yeah, divide the soul. All we need to do is walk in our shoes. So I took the picture, tore it up, vowed to teach her how to tear it up. Here's the picture, baby girl, you can tear it up. Now you can be the teacher to teach her. Baby girl, tear it up. Thank you.
This is how we do it in Power. Radical inclusion. Power party. Thank you very much, Mr. Minister. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to invite another young person who is going to talk on something that has to do with menstrual hygiene. A student for the Prince of Wales, Mr. Boba. Please come forward. Just listen to this man.
His Excellency the President, Dr. Retired Brigadier Juliusmaadabio, His Excellency the Vice President of Sierraleone, His Excellency Her Excellency the First Lady, Maada Fatima, all ministers present, I know protocol observed. Because I don't know everybody present here, okay? Okay, so, good morning to you all. I want to thank God for this opportunity to stand here today to talk on something about menstruation. Now, it might be a surprise to everybody here that a man, should I say a boy? Okay. A boy is standing here to talk on menstruation. But it is important that everybody knows about menstruation. It is really important. It is not only limited to girls. Boys also should have knowledge about menstruation so that when their friends or their sisters or their relative is going through it, they will know what to do and they will not be provoking or doing things that will make them feel uncomfortable, okay? So I'm going to define menstruation. Now, menstruation basically is, normally in Creole we call it period, okay? Okay, so menstruation is a normal vaginal bleeding that occurs as part of a woman's monthly cycle. Now, for every young lady, as they get on to young girl, as they get up to puberty, they start releasing eggs, they produce eggs and they release it to the fallopian tube. Now, that is called ovulation. Now, the egg would now be implanted into the linings of the uterus. The uterus is the womb. Now, that is where the eggs will be. Now, every girl that is experiencing menstruation, that is what occurs, okay? So now, when these eggs are not fertilized, that means you do not get pregnant, what happens? It comes out. As it comes out, the wall of the womb, okay, will split and it will come out. So part of the tissues of the womb will come out with the egg that has been implanted in that uterus. So it comes out through your vagina. That is what it means to experience menstruation. Now, undergo or experience menstruation, their body is being prepared for something we call pregnancy, okay? So we have to understand that they are growing. They are the only people that can undergo menstruation. Boys, no way, you cannot. Now, as their body prepares for pregnancy, okay, we have to understand certain things. Now, for those of you that have not yet started experiencing your periods, there is something I want to tell you. Now, for those of you again that have been experiencing it, you have to hear this. Sometimes, before you start, you experience that you have signs, symptoms, something like headaches, or back pain, or moodiness. You start acting all sorts of okay, and also, but not every young girl have or show these symptoms. Okay, some do not. Some they show these symptoms, and that is why you see them. They are very dull in class, or if they're at home, they are always sleeping. It's because those are the signs. Like for me, if I see those signs, I know I won't tell you, but I know that is what you're experiencing. Okay. Normally, it lasts for some. It lasts for something like a week, 7 days. Okay, some it can go 2 days. It's normal. If you are experiencing it 2 days or 7 days or 5 days, it is normal, okay? So it is good that you experience it because we all know that normally the first thing that comes up into our head when somebody is not, somebody have not yet seen their period for something like a month, something you start thinking, oh, am I pregnant? But that is not always the case. You have to understand this. There are times you will have abnormalities. So whenever you notice this is the case, don't get panicked, okay? You can go to your parents, you talk to them. They are the first person you should meet. Talk to them, and then they will explain to you, or they'll get you checked. Now, you know you've not yet started doing such. Or going to them and asking them to take you to the hospital to be checked. Never be afraid. The first thing is you meet them, you talk to them. Because it is important. You should meet them. If you do not, then you are putting your life at risk. Okay? Now, as I was saying, there are irregular menstrual cycles. Now, some people, they experience they experience their periods twice in a month. It is not all bad, okay? It is not all bad. There is something called premenstrual cycle, okay? Let's say you are getting onto ovulation because, pardon me that I'm talking like this, there is some, okay, I'll just continue again. Now, day 10 to 14. If you are a girl here, now you must know your cycle. The cycle normally lasts for 27, 28 days, but in some it can go up to a month. So it's not static, it's something that changes. Okay? Now, if you are experiencing irregular menstrual cycle, that means you experience it twice a month. It means the second one that will come in out inside the month, it will be 10 days or 14 days after you started you started your period. You ended it, now you are in day 10 and 14. So within those range, now you are experiencing something we call ovulation. I already explained that. Your ovaries will release eggs to your fallopian tube. Okay? So the process by it, the egg being implanted into the uterus, that is your womb, there are times some amount of blood also will come outside. Okay? Now, I want to talk about this now. This is really important. What to do during your period. It is really important. And luckily for us, we have somebody that cares about girls so much, and she loves us so much that I know I'm not a girl. She loves girls so much, and she has done things for girls. Now, the first thing I want you to do, the first thing you should do, whenever you notice you're about to start your period, now, you should have something we call sanitary pads, right? We all know that. All girls here, you know that you should have a sanitary pad because that is what you use to contain the fluid that will be coming out. You don't want to stain what you are putting on, right? So what you do is you should get a sanitary pad. Luckily for all girls in Sierraleone, our mother here has done it for us. She free. You shouldn't buy it, in fact, she gave it to all girls, freely. We've all seen the videos here. We've seen what she did. She went to different girls' schools and she distributed them to girls, okay? So now, when you get the pad, you don't use only one pad a day. That is something you shouldn't do, okay? When you get the pad, that is why they didn't only give you one, right? They gave you 120. Okay, so they gave you 120. Now, it means you should change. You don't use one pad throughout the day. Now, you use only one, you check the number of hours. If you've used it for like 3 hours to 4 hours, you can change it and use another one. There's a reason for that. Now, if you leave it, understand that you are giving off some of the cells and also some tissues are coming out. Now, we know there are tiny things we call bacteria. Those guys are very stubborn. So what they do is, they'll come there and they'll stay there. So if you leave it there, then you start having infections. You notice yourself having aches and scratchings down there. So what you do is wash carefully, okay? It is really important. Now, there are different girls experience their menstruation in different ways. It's like this. For some, it comes out heavily. For some, it comes out lightly. It doesn't mean because it comes out lightly, you should use again only one part throughout the day. No. You should change it every 3 or 4 hours. Okay? So what is the duration? Every 3 or what? 4 hours. Thank you very much. Okay. Now, there are things also that we should understand. Whenever you're experiencing, this is a fact, whenever you're experiencing your period, you get hungry. Really, really hungry. Your appetite grows, it increases, okay? So you have increase in appetite. So, but then the question is, my appetite has increased. Now, what should I eat? This is the question. You don't eat all sort of food, okay? Don't worry, we have rice there. Okay, so the first thing you do is, one of the things you should take in is called water. Now, nobody here will tell me they don't have water. Everybody does, okay? Because obviously you should. Your body has 70% of water. So if you do not have water in your body, you become dehydrated, headaches, and then eventually you die. So, everybody here must have access to that. You should have drinking water. You drink water, okay? You drink a lot of water. Why? Because you must stay hydrated. Now, if you do not stay hydrated, you get dehydrated. And when you get dehydrated, you have headaches. This is what causes the headaches. So what you do is, as a girl, whenever you notice you're going to be experiencing your periods, you start drinking a lot of water. And it's even advisable for everybody here to be drinking a lot of water because you should stay hydrated, okay? Now, the second thing is fruits. Now, what type of fruit do you eat? You should use water-rich fruits, okay? Not sugar fruits, okay? Let's say cucumber is one, okay? We can use cucumber, cucumber. And also, another one we can use is watermelon, okay? The watermelon, we can use it as well. So why are you using them? There is a reason. Because if you take in foods like the ones that have sugar, they have glucose. Now, a lot of glucose in your body would cause something. It will cause a spike, okay? If your glucose level goes up, you have a spike. And when that happens, it crashes. So you don't want that to happen to you. So what you do is take in water fruits, okay? Fruits that are rich in water. Are we understanding? Yes. Okay, so the third thing is leafy vegetables, okay? Leafy green vegetables. Now, I want you to know this. Whenever you release an egg, just know this. You are removing tissues, and we know tissues are composed of cells, okay? So now, since they have cells, you are releasing cells. So since you are giving out cells, you need to replace them. So taking in food helps you to replace those cells. Now, for the green vegetables, they are very rich in iron. So since they are rich in iron, now iron is one of the elements that is found in your blood, okay? Because as you're growing up, how do they call it? Your bone marrow. In your marrow, okay, that is why your red blood cells are being produced. So now, in your there, you need iron. Iron components are made up. That is why the iron components builds up to form your blood. Your blood hemoglobin contains iron. So when you eat this food, these vegetables, green vegetables, you increase your iron content, which is important to replace the blood that you lost, okay? Now, the second thing, again, that we use is what? Rice. I told you. Now, rice, it is important that you take it. When you take in rice, you help yourself in reducing some of the cramps. You know, sometimes when you're experiencing it, you have muscle cramps and all. So, if you take in rice, it helps to reduce some of those cramps, okay? And the other one, chicken. Not everybody can afford it, but it's okay. There is an option, fish, and I'll talk on it. Now, both of them, they have something called proteins and iron. So, if you take in chicken, you are getting two classes of food. You're getting one class of food, but then you're getting another vitamin, which is iron, okay? Now, since you are getting protein, I already explained. What does protein do? It repairs, okay, your worn-out cells. Worn-out, those tissues that are going out. I told you when you menstruate, you are releasing cells. So you have to replace them. The protein is there to replace them for you. So you take in protein food like fish, and also the iron, I already explained. We know it's found in our blood, okay? It helps to produce, okay, more red blood cells. Now, things that you should avoid. One is salt. Why? Because salt causes the retention of water, leading to what? Bloating, okay? So you have so much water being retained. So you become bloated. So you don't want that to happen to you. And the second thing you should avoid again is sugar. But then sugar, you can take it, but in moderate amount, okay? You do not take plenty sugar food, okay? And the reason is because sugar is composed of something we call glucose. When sugar is broken down, okay, it's the simplest unit of it is glucose. Now that glucose, and I explained it earlier, causes a spike in the flow of your energy. So when that happens, what happens to you? You crash and your mood changes. That is why you notice so many girls, if they're experiencing their period, when you talk to them, it's like you did them something really bad. But then, as a parent or as a friend, when you notice that is happening to them, you have to understand that they will be having mood swings. But that doesn't mean you should mock them. It means you should encourage them. That's what you should do as a friend, okay? And also, something that will help you is doing light physical exercises, okay? Don't just sit in one room all day long when lying down. That is not good, okay? You should exercise. We're doing, do light exercises, okay? To reduce the muscle aches and cramps, okay? Okay, so now, as I was saying, we have somebody that cares about us so much, who is our mother. Everybody here is our mother. She loves everybody, both girls and both boys. Okay, she loves us a lot. But now you'll be saying, why is it that always they are only focusing on girls, and then they are leaving us boys like this? No, they're not leaving us like this. Okay, they love us as well. Now I want you to understand this: girls are the first contact to a baby. Let's say, for example, the mother. When the mother gives birth to the child, the mother is the person that teaches the child everything. Most of the things the child knows. Okay? So, if the mother is educated, if the mother gets to know good ethics, which we have a subject for that, like the RME, is being taught in school. So if the mother gets the right character from school, wherein, because that is why they are urging all girls in Sierra Leone to get what? Educated. So if the mother is educated and the mother understands these things, she will know that she must talk to her child concerning this. She will get this sex education. So when the child is about the age, let's say 10, or when they go to their teens, so what you do is you talk to them. They will tell you, okay, so this, you're going to start experiencing something, but don't be afraid. It's normal. Everybody undergoes this. So if you have mothers that will be talking to their child, it will be good. That is why they are focused more on girls, because the girls talk to the girls turns to mothers, and when they become mothers, they are the ones that are transferring all the knowledge, character, and what? Good traits to the child. So if they have that, then what happens? We'll have a good and perfect nation. Because if every child out there is educated, if every child out there understands that this I should do it, no, this I shouldn't do it, then we'll have good infrastructures and we'll have children that will grow up to turn out to become people that will be respected in the society, people that will love their country, and people that will be having good moral conduct. So that is the reason why I love her so much that she brought up this idea of making girls a priority. I'm not jealous of them, okay? I'm okay. But it is good for them to have this. And I love you so much, Ma. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you, the man from the Prince of Wales. For the ladies, I'm sure this is a very good lecture. I told you this morning that we're going to make this conversation very interesting. So if this was going to be, this could have been a family life education, I'm sure. Thank you so much, Mr. Buba. And we want to move forward. On this note, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to humbly invite His Excellency Dr. Babatunde, the UN Resident Coordinator, for a statement.
So how do you follow that, Your Excellency? I've been put in a very difficult situation. I think with your permission, Your Excellency, let me immediately say you have a professor of reproductive medicine and human development in the making. And I've also been put in a very difficult situation to follow, to speak after a high-performing rapper minister. Not too easy. Nonetheless, I will do what I have to do. His Excellency, retired Brigadier General Juliusmaadabio, President of the Republic of Sierraleone, Honorable Vice President, Her Excellency the First Lady of the Republic of Sierraleone, Honorable Ministers of Government here present, Honorable Members of Parliament, our worship, the Mayor of Freetown, Excellencies and Ambassadors here present, my UN colleagues, NGO leaders here present, private sector leaders, the media, adolescents, girls and boys, ladies and gentlemen. Your Excellency, it is such an honor to be here today. And I would like to start by expressing my thanks and appreciation to Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Madam Fatima, for this laudable initiative to officially launch the operational plan 2021 to 2023 for the office of the First Lady and to commemorate the International Day of Menstrual Hygiene. The United Nations here in Sierra Leone appreciates Her Excellency, the First Lady, for exemplary leadership to move forward the agenda of enhancing the life chances and well-being of women and girls, and to follow the student professor while including men and boys in Sierra Leone. We also want to thank the government for its commitment and partners for working to end gender-based violence and other harmful practices. We are happy to note that an operational plan, the operational plan being launched, will promote the rights of women and girls and will help to advance the implementation of the Human Capital Development Agenda of the government. We mark this year's Menstrual Hygiene Day with the theme, Action and Investment in Menstrual Hygiene and Health. This day is observed on 28 May because menstrual cycles average 28 days in length. And girls and women menstruate on average of 5 days each month. May, of course, is the 5th month of the year. Menstrual Hygiene Day is a global advocacy day celebrated to promote good menstrual hygiene management for all girls and women. This year's call to action is for more investment, more interventions, and more programs to promote menstrual health and hygiene. Previous speakers have already spoken eloquently about the case for prioritizing menstrual hygiene and health. So I will not go through the same points again, but just to stress that without access to sanitary products and water and sanitation facilities, we would be already disadvantaged girls when it comes to educational opportunities. And what we will do through that process is to further widen the education gaps between girls and boys, especially from senior secondary school upwards. Here in Sierra Leone, Her Excellency has now taken the huge challenge to provide free sanitary pads to girls in education. To ensure hygiene, dignity, and safeguarding, and in response to the COVID-19 crisis, the United Nations Population Fund, in partnership with the Office of the First Lady, provided supplies of dignity kits distributed alongside sanitary pads to ensure that the girls were provided with basic supplies to maintain hygiene and dignity. Similarly, the United Nations Children Fund has been working closely with the Ministry of Water Resources, Ministry of Health and Sanitation, and the Ministry of Basic and Secondary School Education to construct and rehabilitate water, sanitation, and hygiene facilities in primary and junior secondary schools across Sierra Leone. Community leaders, health workers, and teachers are well positioned to negate menstrual stigma, and parents and wider family members need to be educated about the practices and myths which might be unintentionally causing harm to women and girls. In order to establish sustainable social change, education is key. All girls and boys must be educated about menstruation and reproductive health and rights to empower them to talk comfortably about periods and sexual health. As such, I commend the Minister of Basic and Senior Secondary Education for the introduction of comprehensive sexuality education into the basic education curriculum framework. This will ensure that girls and young women have access to information necessary to take control of the menstrual health and alleviate stigma around menstruation. Adolescent girls need the support of the government and development partners to provide adequate water, sanitation, and hygiene infrastructure, as well as access to affordable sanitary products for them to manage their periods, as this is a reproductive health and rights issues. We must reiterate here that it is of critical importance to have an enabling environment that provides psychosocial support as well as water, sanitation, and hygiene facilities. We must acknowledge that some young women and girls face greater challenges in attaining their sexual and reproductive health and rights. And the minister already listed some of them, the Minister of Basic and Secondary Education. These include girls that are living with disabilities, those living in remote, hard-to-reach rural communities, and those that are out of school. This calls, in short, for a collective responsibility as the United Nations, the government, NGOs, and the communities to ensure that we reach those furthest behind within these laudable efforts. We'd like to applaud the efforts of Her Excellency's initiative to empower, educate, and engage leaders, communities, families, and adolescent girls and boys about menstruation, and to highlight the right of women and girls to hygienically manage their periods. Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you so much. We have carefully listened to His Excellency Dr. Babatunde. I'm sure he speaks directly for the entire UN family in Sierra Leone. And UNFPA, we've been in this jungle all this while. We want to say thank you for the dignity keep. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I now have the privilege to invite Her Excellency Madam Fatima Maadabio, the champion for sanitation and hygiene for African Union, and the mother of the Hands of Our Girls project, Her Excellency the First Lady.
Thank you. Your Excellency, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, retired Brigadier Julius Maadabio, my dearest husband. The Honorable Vice President, Dr. Mohammed Jalo. These Excellencies, allow me to stand on existing protocols for wanting of time. We're here today to commemorate a very important day, and that is the Menstrual Hygiene Day. What a coincidence that we are commemorating this day. And just yesterday, the African Union, through the Anchor organization, sees its fit to appoint me as the new champion for sanitation and hygiene for Africa. I'm grateful. Thank you very much. Your Excellency, 2018, you gave me an assignment that I should reach out to your children. You asked me to figure out what you need to do as the president of this nation for our girls. We went around this country and we reported back to you, and that was the beginning and the birth of Hands of Our Girls campaign. We realized that the rate at which our girls are being raped in this country and the rate at which our girls are being forced to early marriage, as far as I am concerned, early marriage is a legalized way of rape, in my own opinion. Because a child should remain to be a child. Your Excellency, you asked me to reach out to your girls, our children. Like my sons are saying, we are not abandoning you. We're building women that will help you, your helpmate. You want a woman that will be a woman that will help you. You don't want a woman that will be a liability to you. So I hope you'll understand why we're focusing on the girls of Sierra Leone. And besides, the free quality education is for everyone. His Excellency is not a biased father. And I'm also doing this to help you, the boys, so that you have a good, perfect, and a superwoman at home as a wife in the future. Mr. President, please permit me, sir, to speak to my children, their mothers, grandmothers, because I know most of our parents, our grandparents, they sit glued on their TV to listen to what we are saying here. Permit me to speak to them in our local palace Creole, so that we'll just understand a little bit. Me and my children, we used to have a very brilliant conversation, and we want to have that conversation in front of His Excellency, right? Now, Presidentbio say we not for use pieces. And see? Yes. When I don't begin shame? No! I go back so. No, be honest with Presidentbio. Now, how many of we be use pieces before now? If you had no your Presidentbio, no the give party there. How many of you will use pieces before now? Presidentbio, let me tell you what I don't learn. Throughout this journey, we don't go around the country. We don't go every district with the exception of Falaba, which I promise will go soon. Once you I learn, the girls, they don't educate me. I go there for educate them, but then they educate me more. I go Kono, then they use paper for sanitary pad. I go Moyamba, Bump, and the southern region. The most popular phone where we begin and they fall victim, then they call us Spark 5. Yes, yes, right? Yes. I don't know if Freetown gets Spark 5. Yes, Una get that? Yes. iPhone. Yes. Wow. Now I'm going to the east. Then get one phone where they call Camon 16. Yes. Is it Freetown? Yes. Well, I'm going to some of them remote village them. Then your phone them call them button phone. When I get that? Yes. I already they call some help me press. Presidentbio, all there and I phone them in them. And see? Yes. Help me press. Yes. Oh, I forget the 30,000 yon Africell. Yes. But me and Una, we don't agree because that one of the provinces that we don't agree because one thing I can ask them. Then they tell me the prices of all them phone here. Now how much iPhone worth in Freetown? How much? 26,000? No. 5,600. iPhone 2.5? 5 million. Okay, when all the talk, I know they understand. Yes.
5,600,000.
5,600,000? Yes. For iPhone? Yes. How much that come on 15, 16?
2,500,000.
1 million?
2,500,000.
2,500,000.
Yes.
How much na Spark 5, Spark 6? 1,500,000. 1,700,000. How much na button phone? 60,000.
dancing? So now which phone would I can get? iPhone. The iPhone would I can get? Help me press. Now I can get. Okay. Now how much now help me press?
50,000.
Give me your price. 70. Yes, you? You said you want what it? You want with the hand that you need? 250. Okay. Oh, then that one day. Then they go button phone. I don't understand the reason why I asked this question. The reason why I asked this question, presidentbio, most of we picking them, whether they fall prey, whether they become victim of rape, whether sugar daddy then kill na them hotel there, yes, whether bad man then they fool them, na them phone they are then use. Na them phone them. But me don't tell me picking and say, if you know what thing you feature what. Now tell me what you feature what?
Education.
More than diamond and gold. Yes. Okay, what is your feature what? Education. Okay.
Priceless.
So if you future priceless, you self no see. The thing where you know for do now for begin the father man business within a school, right? Because that money or that button phone where that man they give you now, it carry you go na then dirty motel them. It will give you belly. Because the other thing we I learned from una the school picking them again simple. Una tell me say, then he tell una say na small no ma they do.
Yes, ma'am. Small.
Or na the first 10 this no more. And see? Or I go do a fast. But I don't tell una say sex in any form. Small, fast, slow, whatever way you do it means say the possibility for that you will become pregnant instantly is 100%.
Yes.
So that means when you are in your uniform as an ambassador for your school, you represent your school. Now the last thing that they wait for dinner in your mind. Yes. Because when you come out of your house and go to school, you don't left your mama and your papa in house. Automatically, you are an ambassador now for that school. Anything when you do, good or bad, before they even call your name and your school name, then they attach to you. So if you know what in you feature what, then you know say, no man know what for you for father and then dark alleys them. No man know what for you for father then and then dirty motels them. Because then they go there, then they go spoil your future. Now all that stupid sugar daddy the way see una get so. And una way get una teacher and telephone numbers then sound una phone because una other than they give una free grade. And see we get together, right? Yes. Now here una they talk and see. Yes. Now they tell me what's in the happen, right? Yes. Now tell me, if teacher will let you for real, why it will give you in telephone number, they pull you in your house 6 o'clock every day for carry go na them corner them. In Osna library? No. So why you go there? Why you not go focus? And they tell you this every day. The opportunity we wanna get, we not get them opportunities. Yes. When we need to go to school, we dey pay school fees. And they tell every Saturday I go, they tell this story. Thursday, and most times towards examination time, we don't left 1 week to examination. Now they come pull in a classroom because you get to pay your school fees. Yes. You dey comot na school, you dey go na house, you hate your mama and your papa because they not pay you school fees. You dey feel like for say you are not loved by your own parents. Now you don't get somebody who don't look, he pay una all school fees, he don't ask you for your political background. He don't ask you for who that your papa vote for, who that your mama vote for. He say, I just want them to see your better. You get that opportunity today. You they only pay you school fees, but they give you books then. When we they buy book? Some teacher they be wicked to retail, then they give you book list and tell you, they ask if you mama na meridian back. You understand? Now when I get standard, they give you na free. He realize say they okada the one na be they take, na they bako of una they get bele. He say make I give una boss, we go make sure say me pikin and the go school they come from free. He give una all that one day. He not say, you know what he? Now just take me on picking and concentrate on me picking. Presidentbio, you get picking them. Really? But he said I pay for every picking because I want that every picking in this country I get the same opportunity like a young picking. So every side where I go, I will remind you of this. The opportunity we will not get, we not get them. Now you go first ask now who wants to be a first lady on all the ace on the hand. That tell you if you're not first lady where you head empty, I swear to God, you're not going for tinap and then from here. You get to focus on your education because there is nothing that this world not the way paramount reach your education. Now you are getting that free of charge. It is free for you and your parents, but now one man they pay for them. And that man where they pay for them, he not ask you for pay them back. He say, just be the best that you can become for this nation. He said, pass your exam, study, make you pass your exam. May you come and be the best doctor for anything where you want to become, be the best. And then you will serve your nation. I can give you now one example. I said tomorrow, when you be the best doctor in this country, and your mama lidom, maadabio lidom, you get one injection, you get for save somebody in life. Now your mama force in life, you say that. Yes. When you get for build your first house, you not get for say maadabio outside team they allow go build your house. Papa, I want build house for you. When time reach for can go America, you know they say maadabio allow go find visa for you, no go America. They say mama na me you go America. Papa no go, they can go London this year, no go let you go do your medical, whatever. You know they ask, Lord na pay them back. All is say focus on your education and be the best. Because for her, when you will not transform on yourself and be the best in this nation, Sierraleone the better. Without education, if we not get enlightened people, then we not get people the way you know say, then get focused mind and believe in patriotism and want for serve the nation, we will continue for that explanation all the time. And guess what? By the time when they do your GCSE, because now you spy till you reach for do your GCSE, now you get for the tinap na then junction, they say, Papa, you go body oh, Mama, you titi oh. And then you go remember say, I been don't go school, but I not been green for focus. Now finally, before I go, make a show now the thing the way we get, Presidentbio today is just generous. I not say majority or at least 90% of una way there una be not get una sanitary pads from we. Yes, and see, me picking and the one thing to make a let them, they know they lie. But today Presidentbio in your own generous mind want to give you more. They want to give you more. But when Presidentbio be they buy, when be they make sure say for every fundraising what we do in this country, if forget say in a president, it be there right in the middle of it, from the beginning, from day one. It they make sure say now they tell you una do so, una do so, una do so. Because if you want let this sanitary pad, after we talk about buses, una get buses. When you talk about books there. When you talk about uniform. Some districts then they where they don't get food. He said, when I give them food, if daddy will keep the beginning at school, we have to do everything possible. From the day where I come and say, the girls, they need sanitary pads. I say, Fatima, I let me begin and pay, but this one, don't go spend the money now. For every fundraising we do, Presidentbio champions it from day one. We do first dinner, we not get enough. We do second dinner, we not get enough. We do One Nation concert. Also, I believe say most of una we go now to school, we go talk to una and everything. In fact, some people they even call me Antichrist. But you know what? I say if not for me beginning, I don't care the name we call me. What's not for me girls then? I am good. But you know why? Because Presidentbio, how are they go before now? So it's not be me, they push me, say you have to do this, you have to do this, you have to do this. Even when they make this part then, yeah, he writes the words them all way there for make sure say, he said, I just want every morning when you see your menstruation, all Presidentbio they ask you, make you read them words them, yeah, for let you empower yourself. Do you understand? Now first, he said tomorrow belongs to those who are educated today. Yes. So if you not educate now, my dear, you don't go for blame Presidentbio. You don't give you free education. And see? Yes. Now the other thing where he writes, he said marriage my choice, education my. Una all don't get una pardon, una dey pardon now. Well done. And then the other thing where he say united against. Yes. Fantastic. Now we all together therefore stop rapists in this country. Yes. Now we all together therefore make sure say them pedophile their way in this country. Either them find a different job for do or we go give them different nationality. If not so that we go help them, let them go get fine 5-star hotel called Pademba Road. But now we all together, now we get for one. And then finally, what I say Presidentbio want take me begin a love from me. Now myself writes this, and we don't get answer today. I say menstruation is not a choice. My girls need free sanitary pads. And what we don't get, the minister just don't announce say next year, my dear, with the roller coaster in this country here because we serve the people and we serve the children. The minister will provide the sanitary pads, so I will be the messenger for deliver the sanitary pads. And I they come with pleasure because I know say the thing they wanna learn, wanna teach me what kind of schools them, the love and everything. Now the reason and the way make I know they tired for do what they do. And when I go in the house, I they meet the man where they push me with the brightest smile, even though Naki say not his smile. When I say not his smile, I beg Presidentbio now for put the maskless smile for me. The day where I come in the house and that big smile I can reach in front of me. And because I want that smile every day, I will make sure say I go every day for that they come back and meet the same smile. Okay? So please, you focus on what? Education. Marriage my choice. Education my right. Aha. The minister don't rap it. Yes. They can't turn model. I believe say we all know what's in the Isaiah. 120 pieces. It will last you for the whole year. Next year, will they come back? The year after that, will they come back? After that, will they come back? And make sure say we are all accustomed to using sanitary pads because we know that them pieces the way they use. We also do it in them pieces them can do so we see. Yes. Where you put her. As you begin water, then you know say now travel like get with the other yes. If the pieces not they run with you, you know say now the smell now go one kill you and see. Yes. Presidentbio don't stop all that day. Yes. Now when you wear your pad, what you they say? Because when I go to school, I tell you what you they say. I am a superwoman because my president said I am a superwoman, right? Yes. So dear beg, I will not continue for be that superwoman day. This pad, the best of quality, certified. You see, we get the United Nations. When you get the United Nations coordinator here, come talk. They let you know say they know what you to do and what you to do is perfect. Yeah. I want to thank everybody who don't stand with we. But una the picking and the love and the council of principals, the teachers them, they, you know, it make every day people they ask me, you know, they tire. I know they able tire when I get a spirit like this. And the love that you show is unbelievable. Wow. So I want to say to me Sunday, una no vex. Una no vex. Because we they get different package. We'll get for camp, we'll defend. Where I go Kaila on the boys then ask me say, why I not bring them condom? Then physically tina before me then ask me say, I they bring pads for the girls then but I not bring condom for them. And the answer to them is, I actually still not legalize sex in school. So please, no mind, stay away. Okay? And then that one when I call high school sweetheart. Then one day, I don't tell you 90. Yes. Prince of Wales. Each one, he get girlfriend at grammar school, he get girlfriend at convent, he get girlfriend at FSSG, he get girlfriend at Aniwash, he get girlfriend at Ghanaian. So you know Monday sweetheart, the other one at Tuesday sweetheart, the other one at Wednesday sweetheart. So don't feel that you want to get you. Now penny the pen pound another week. And you were weak, now you go sleep with. And I see sleep with you. Now they can tell you say small, fast, slow. Now lie when you get better, the minister don't talk her. We get radical inclusion. But there is also thing called say bele, na bele no moya. Where you get bele? You know they get money sickness, you know they get sleeping problem, you know they wait to say when they pass the exam, you remember for go bomb picking. And say I don't tell you now. Let it happen only when you are ready. Sex not by force. Okay? Yes. Only do one when you don't say you don't come on at college. I don't tell you now. The worst part, and they say the worst part, when you mistake you drop out of school. When you mistake you drop out of school because that your high school sweetheart don't go give you belly. You feel say na lucky you. Now if don't go college, you know what they happen? That in girlfriend when they FSSG convent or animals when they say to her no. Now they all two don't go college. By the time when they come up college, the one don't turn lawyer, the one don't turn doctor. You know the member say now begin. Now me if you go for the picky say na me mama they come in and look like say you don't have a problem. Because me are too busy. And I believe say na so all my mama they busy right now. Now the way you go one picky, your mama they come, you say like I help you hold her. Now when as you can your mama they tell you say I better hold you picky, me self get side for go. So by the time when you they done that one day, now you don't pass 5 years now, you don't have to don't want to say you they tell go the picky for go game. You know what's happen? You don't see when woman they see company woman they afraid for talk. When you go knock na the house, in and that one when you get sense when they talk say no. You go knock na the house. Then the woman open the door. They ask you. Excuse I ask you. Thank you very much. They will ask you say, excuse me, can I help you? And then that's it, then you know ice water or original they sell it. Now you go look yourself, you then at the outside of the compound, in the inside, the suicide for where you have to go. What did they tell her? Sorry man, I think that they are the wrong address at because you go fight for property. But that one when they call high school sweetheart, if Nike open the door, you know what they do you? I see open the door. Madam they inside. It don't push now. It they lock the door for them, madam no hearing. It ask you now waiting. As you want to say, go, do you know what we're fearing? So now you don't turn second hand. You understand? But now you be fool. That's when you want when they are the watch when they say no. You go turn opinama. See? So me and I will not agree something at this country. I say all the girls begin and opinama and see. get una sanitary pad double again from His Excellency after here. Una know they go show una outside we don't put up. Una they go there, His Excellency they go give una pad them. I know say today not to know una want take picture with His Excellency. The boys there, me and una go there and one small corner, go just the chit chat, you know what I'm saying? Right? But today, I know say when we dey go out for give the sanitary pads then, we not been give una this new package we don't add for the pads then. So I just to show una waiting the day. This now when we partner the UNFPA, now we come together and say, well, we give them sanitary pads, but don't give the other thing also we will encourage them for do more. Because the more you do, the better it is for you and we all, right? Yes. So we get for use soap, we get for the use for what? For the ones that, you understand? And see? We don't give them all face masks right now where they say we are united against rape, and see? But then are you face at the same? Oh, not all okay? Okay, no bad. Inside the bag, you get 2 face masks, okay? And then, inside the same bag, this now for lady boys, they're not jealous too. I beg, una not jealous. We put for una, pants them. We put for soap them, more soap. This is for one body. Now with all that we don't talk now, when we commemorate something was so special to we don't also not forget say we get rapists then at this country. We get man there where they not get shame. When they say now picking them no more and then they go exercise their rights. So just in case you don't work at even 10. You know, say you say you go maybe a jack or something. We put for a weapon inside this bag. But we put whistle there so that you put around your neck. It gets in chain. If you notice that somebody there behind you. It wants for you notice somebody that comes behind you when you're not comfortable. You get this round your neck, but draw attention for let other people that when they around, let them will know say you did at that place there. You the blow up. Now finally, this one I not be one give because Freetown most of the lights business today can sort them out and it is sort out and by God in power lights will be all the best. Okay? But just in case that when they do maintenance in your area and you get by exam you need for study, then you not get excuse for the gift of what's not next. We still give you special lights. When they give for the boys them back, let them not say this mommy I don't let me. Yeah? So what we're gonna do, when they give everybody the all gets you, okay? And we will get an extra sanitary pad also for girls there. This now all because we commemorate this wonderful day and also for give His Excellency retired Brigadier Juliusmaadabio the opportunity for let go to see how he pose. Let's self-pose today, right? Your Excellency, you asked me to go and continue for talk to the Pekinese in this country, yeah? And I know say the mama and the granny then go to listen because I want let them go to educate the Pekinese at the house then. Let them go to talk to the Pekinese, let them make sure say the Pekinese from school to parenting, government, now all my business, not to one person. When you then are us, that your mama and papa the responsibility. When you then at school, that the teachers their responsibility. Government parents in your responsibility now for provide for you the necessary things that way you need for let you get a safe environment and enjoy the quality education where you get. So dear, I dey talk to the parents and all the beginning where they do their NPSC today, and I wish them well. Let God make the all pass the exam, the flying colors, so that we brother Naya, they not only they rap for we, but this time they rap with a band. I thank you all so very much.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency. Put your hands together for Her Excellency. Thank you. On this note, I want to invite an artist to entertain His Excellency the President and the rest of our guests. Rose Sokoto. Rose Sokoto.
Sorry, mommy. Oh, now sorry, mommy. The mommy day. Not one, not one. Yes. Nice. Yeah, time me up. Say knowledge and truth are both. That's Boy, picking, yeah, picking for go school. Cause it's a lot today, oh mama. Mommy son of sustainable. Last you, the knowledge and truth are forefathers' way. Boy, the king, get the king, or go school. It's a long today, oh mama. Glad for that. Alma. Turn me up, turn me up. Take me back up. Tradition. Not exactly keep back, making dream no die. So how you gonna feel if you begin they go out of the way? Oh, now you sister, they force from my before you take your hands up, my girl. Stop picking up the Stop picking up the take your hands up, my girl. Now we both will take us my girls. Now that you're they never know, they never know, they never chance, so they never know, they never know, they never know, that they know, they never know, they never know, they never know, they never chance, so they never know, they never know, they never know, let them go. So mama, you begin for early marriage, don't make you born. That's the one I can talk to. Got me feeling for fire, fire, cause the society need them. They want to really be violent. Take your hands up, our girl. Small picking up for take your hands up, our girl. Small picking up for take your hands up, our girl. Now we both will take your hands up, our girl. And now them can't be really for good. If they were dumb, if they were dumb, if they don't try so, if they were dumb, if they were dumb, if they were dumb, let them go. If they were dumb, if they were dumb, if they were dumb, if they don't try so, if they were dumb, if they were dumb, if they were dumb, let them go. I stand for the right of our girls. Take your hands off them goals. All the girls need to the same. But how they call it safe when we will protect them? They take advantage of them. Got me in for life, boy. Take your hands up, my girl. Slow picking up for take your hands up, my girl. Slow picking up for take your hands up, my girl. Now we both will take your hands up, my girl.
Leone, for our young ones coming up, and for all the women in Sierra Leone. Thank you very much, Mommy. Daddy, thank you very much. Thank you all.
Hello. Thank you so much, Rosie. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the moment we've been waiting for is a keynote address by the champion of House of our Girls, the associate champion for sanitation and hygiene, the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, the Fountain of Honor, the Supreme Head of State, retired Brigadier Dr. Juliusmaadabio. Put your hands together.
Let's sit down, please.
Thank you.
The Honorable Vice President, Madam First Lady, Ministers of Government, Your Worship, the Mayor of our municipality, Freetown, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, our development partners, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. As we pondered our New Direction Manifesto, we asked a number of critical questions. One was, why was it that Mariam, Tene, and Aisha, who entered class 1 with Joe, Michael, and Tommy, could not be accounted for during the WAS examination for that cohort? The answers were grim. Mariam may have been married off early to an elderly and illiterate trader. She may have a 3-year-old child, but she suffers from fistula and she is treated badly in the community. You know the stigma attached to fistula, and therefore she's not being treated properly. Tene could be a single teenage mother who may have survived rape by an elderly relative and impregnated by an elderly man. She could not go back to school while she was pregnant because there was a ban on pregnant girls in school. Her 5-year-old son is stunted, has learning disabilities, and not attending school because Tene cannot afford paying her fees. Aisha could have died from complications from teenage pregnancy and because of the lack of comprehensive maternal health care. These stories were and have replayed over and over again in Sierra Leone. Their stories are a giant scar on the conscience of those who can change their stories but have successively never done so. That is the narrative that we as a government want to change. Those girls and the children constitute 52% of our country's population, but they are condemned through no fault of theirs to lives of penury, victimization, and death. And that is what we want to prevent. We want to make sure you do not, especially the guys, fall in that category. The boys may ask, why are we not part of this equation? The guys need special protection, care, and that is what we want to do. The questions we have been confronted with are many. How do we help Sierraleoneans, especially women and girls, to reach their full potential and contribute their fair share to inclusive national development? How do we do that? That is what we are trying to tackle, and we need you, the women and the girls, to play your part. How do we correct cultural and other structural defects in how our society sees women? You have a part to play, and I challenge the women that have a part to play. How do we nourish, protect, and support our women to be all that they can be? You have a role to play, I have a role to play, and I'm trying as best as I can to play that role. Over the last 3 years, we have taken bold risks, but we have been guided by the fervent belief that girls, like boys, must have an equal chance in life. That girls, like boys, must be empowered, invested in, and supported. And that girls, like boys, must be protected and respected. It is easier said than done. It is not enough for me alone to do this, nor the First Lady. And therefore, today is an invitation to all of us to play our parts in making sure that happens. That is why we declared human capital development as a national priority. That is why we provide free, equal, and inclusive quality education for all. That is why we supply free teaching and learning materials in schools and school feeding in some areas. That is why we provide school buses and create safe spaces for learning in schools. That is why we reviewed the curriculum, invested in more classrooms, equipped more libraries and laboratories. That is why we reversed the ban on pregnant girls in school, implemented a policy of radical inclusion in our schools, and introduced teaching of reproductive health. That is why we have spoken up about cervical cancer diagnosis and treatment personnel and facilities in country. And that is why we have campaigned to demystify menstruation, and we are providing free sanitary pads to girls nationwide. That is why we reviewed the sexual assault laws and made them tougher, declared rape a national emergency, established a one-stop center for SGBV, and instituted sexual offenses model courts to fast-track SGBV cases. That is why this is why gender inclusion is central to our medium-term national development plan, and we have developed a gender equality and women's equality empowerment policy to guide our investment and interventions in that regard. But more so, that is why our indefatigable First Lady, Madam Fatima Maadabio, has traveled to every corner of this nation and spoken from the heart. Hands off our girls. Hands off our girls. Men, women, boys, and chiefs and communities are all contributing now to make sure that our girls are safe, protected, Her work speaks for itself in this operational plan that we have with us, that is for the 2021-2023. She has developed an operational plan, and I will be launching that at the end of this remark. She has raised awareness, engaged state, non-state actors, the private sector, and institutions in advocacy and dialogue, has worked with and brought about renewed hope and fresh ideas in fighting discrimination and gender-based violence by prioritizing our intervention in relation to teenage pregnancy and early marriage and forced marriage, child prostitution, forced labor, trafficking, women's empowerment, maternal mortality, and sustained childhood development, among others. Today, more young girls feel empowered and believe that a brighter future is possible. Yes. Do you believe that? Yeah. Thank you. We are on this journey together. Yeah. And we need you to respond as we go on. I know amongst you, I want to make sure that we get a woman president, not so? Yeah. You know why? That has never happened in this country. Yeah. We have a woman mayor, not so? Yes. And I want to be mayor? Yes. When I the stuff wait for me to be mayor, now we put down our head so. We encourage you to make me do that one day. Because if you want to be mayor, and when you're a woman, you have to be tougher. Woman of substance. The first lady, you know, always woman until maybe later. The first lady is always going to be a woman. I don't know how the world is going to evolve. But at least we don't say, one of you are going to be first lady, not so? Yes. So we want to prepare you to be a woman of substance when you get to that position. This is the assignment. This is our project. Today, more young girls feel empowered and believe in a brighter future, that a brighter future is possible. Hands Off Our Girls campaign has been as audacious as it has been inspirational. Around this country, it is one of the most popular campaigns and goes beyond this country. It has resonated with women, girls, and leaders beyond the borders of this country. It has been truly impactful, and we owe its resounding success to our First Lady's passionate commitment, resolve, and drive. Thank you, Madam First Lady. Just yesterday, I received a delegation from Ankau that appointed the First Lady champion for water and sanitation. I hope that assignment is not going to take you away from these beautiful young ladies we are trying to take. We will see how she will divide her time in serving the continent and also Sierraleone. Her appointment is logically aligned with her passion to protect, inspire, and empower young and vulnerable girls. But her new line of work, advocating for progressive changes in a wash environment, policies, and outcomes, is relevant to today's event even more. The theme for this year's Menstrual Hygiene Day, Action and Investment in Menstrual Hygiene and Health, urges us all to take stock. Let us think deeply about what we can do about the hundreds of thousands of Sierraleonean women who are confronted with challenges to proper management of their periods. Social and cultural stigma, lack of knowledge about menstruation, lack of water, sanitation, and hygiene facilities, and more importantly, lack of menstrual hygiene products constitute those barriers. The implications for education, social inclusion, and health have been well documented and presented. For instance, girls can miss up to 20% of their education and consequently fail to complete and transition to higher education. Our task as a nation is to address each of those barriers and therefore mitigate the associated threats to safety, health, and well-being of our girls and women. That is a national assignment, and we are up to the task. We need your support. We must question backward traditional notions and taboos around menstruation that cause anxiety, fear, and shame. We must fashion a common vision on menstruation. We must work to disseminate knowledge about menstruation to our girls and women by creating appropriate educational resources around menstruation, both in formal and non-formal educational spaces. That is just what the First Lady was doing. It's a taboo here to talk freely about menstruation, which is a natural occurrence. We feel thirsty, we are pressed, we go to the toilet, but we are shy to talk about something that is so natural. We have to break that taboo. And I challenge the men to start to talk about menstruation with their children who are getting ready, who are getting into puberty. The women, the mothers, should also take that challenge. I cannot do it all alone. We must also speak about the benefits of good menstrual hygiene for women and girls. Local champions, opinion leaders, citizens can drive that change. I can see a lot of champions already who will help the First Lady to take this message, cascade this message to every village and town and household in this country. A good communication plan that includes persons in the creative arts will also be helpful in changing attitudes, as we had Rosie singing just now. So we need people who can help us simplify the message and take it to the grassroots. We must invest in safe, dignified, female-friendly water and sanitation facilities at school, at home, so that our girls and women can safely practice menstrual hygiene. This involves a lot, and I listen keenly to the mayor taking the initial steps or additional steps to make sure that our city, open defecation should not be practiced in Freetown. We should have toilet facilities. We should have enough water to make sure that we maintain hygiene. Women and girls in particular lack consistent access to menstrual hygiene products. We are playing our part to help the girls to have access to it. On that note, I want to thank you all, and I now formally launch first this operational plan for the Hands Off Our Girls campaign 2021-2023. Thank you, and I also want to use this opportunity to formally open the commemoration of the International Menstrual Day 2021. Thank you all.
Cadê o uniforme? Anna, what's it now?
You did like.
I feel no more force. Ready for a few. Yes, sir.
Il faut flop.
Permets le continuer de coller le mot.
Yeah, the overglidiness. Hey, watch out. Hey, watch.